it kind of helped them advance. I mean, do you think this was a conspiracy?
Gotta go with Jacob Butter. Gotta go
No,
lefty.
we're talking about the players, the tournament champions into the podcast.
There he is, right there.
Oh, he doesn't even know how to watch. Go to youtube.com and search Down Lane Podcast. What's up, bowlers? Welcome to Down Lane Podcast. We are streaming live from the lab at Town and Country Lanes. I'm your host, Kyle Haines, and with me is the assistant to the host, Anthony
Scaccia
Scaccia.
Tower.
It's something new with you every freaking week.
I try to make it interesting.
Can I see that real quick? I gotta look at something. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was gonna do, but welcome, folks, and welcome back to the Down Lane Podcast. We've got the World Series of Bowling recap today. We're gonna chat a little about last weekend's adventures. We're gonna talk about everything coming up in the next few upcoming weeks.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts from the channel. Nice job on that intro, though. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying.
What's up, Nick? Welcome to the chat. So we're going to talk about World Series of Bowling, like you said. We are also going to be discussing our trip to Oswego, New York for the Super Bud Bowl.
Oswego!
Lots of exciting things going on at the Super Bud Bowl.
That was a wild ride.
Historic, actually. Historic tournament it was.
Yeah.
Let's why don't we just get right on into it? How was your week this week?
We are here. It is Thursday. Bowled once this week. I shot at 710 with 195. So felt like I was throwing it good. Didn't get my practice in last night, but we're pushing through. We're pushing through whatever we got.
You didn't get your practice in, but you did get a review done. 2, right? Or just 1?
Nah, I wasn't feeling it for 2.
All right, you got the IQ in.
We got the IQ in. RST we'll hope to have maybe I'll do tomorrow. I'll shoot tomorrow. We'll see what happens. RST ball is pretty freaking good. So if you like big ball that hooks, big ball, big hook, you need big ball, big hook. That one's good.
Seems like it's like it comes with parking lot surface on it.
Yeah, it's my kind of ball. I mean, honestly, I think it comes the same as an Ion Max, but the colors on it look a little bit different. I think it's got a little bit more pizzazz, especially with the colors.
Because of the color or because of the actual
of the ball.
action?
I think it's the actual ball. I mean, that's what I think. But it's a great piece of equipment. Anthony Likey, it's already in the tournament bag. I didn't even bring an Ion Max this weekend. I only brought that one.
Right.
So,
I feel like I didn't see you really use it. No, you were using like the level and the.
I use the level
red.
Zenu
Yeah.
IQ 78.
Mhm.
We did throw hyperdrive. Me and Chris Smith threw sanded bowling balls on the first pair we bowled on 17-18, so we could have a free hook spot to the left. So we actually did kind of team up in the first pair that we had.
Are you talking about finals?
Yeah, when we went to
All
match
right.
play. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about that. So this last weekend, we went to Oswego, New York, Super Bud Bowl, Lighthouse Lanes,
Oswego.
right next to the racetrack, right down the street from the ocean, the big lake.
Yeah.
Very interesting tournament for anybody that's not from the New York area or the Southern Canadian area that maybe isn't familiar with the Bud Bowl. But it's about a week long. Many qualifying squads. You can re-enter as many times as you want. $5,500 to win. And they take 96 players to match play, which is a pretty big field.
Yeah, and the finals is let's just say the finals are to get there, it's like plus 20, 25 every year.
Right.
So
And it was right on pace this year.
yeah, I mean it was definitely it was 27 over this year. Lanes are extremely difficult. So you're looking for a challenge and it's something to go to.
The only thing I can guess is that the pattern is just exactly flat. Like I don't believe that there's any build to the pattern whatsoever.
I don't know. I think there is a little bit of a build. I don't think it's much if there's anything, but I agree with you that it's probably extremely flat. But there is probably a little bit of something in there. Because I watched Chris Smith miss right and it held and he missed left and a hook. So
he had probably the most area down lane of anybody there. Well, that I think.
That is an understatement. He had more than Jesus.
Wow.
He had a lot of
I
area.
didn't see him there.
Oh, he missed him. Squad B and C.
Oh my god!
But yeah, he had a lot of room.
That was quick.
Thank
Anthony.
you.
Well done.
Yeah, and that was pretty good. But yeah, he had a lot of room, And he used it to his advantage. He had a good look with what we've drilled him recently, and I got to give him props, man. He definitely kept himself in every match. Unfortunately, we both got put on the stake by the same person. So
if I'm not mistaken, from the 518, he was the longest to make it, farthest to make it. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So congratulations to Chris. Ray Ponte, bowled here. Does he still bowl here?
No, we miss Ray. He hasn't been here in a while. He's been doing some other stuff, but
crushed him though.
Yeah,
he was leading the squad for a minute.
Yeah, he had a 821 and missed the automatic bid by like a pin or two the night before, and then he came back on Sunday, and then he ended up getting into the guaranteed spot. So, good bowling, Ray, and it was good bowling the match play too. Is fantastic.
Yeah, and so what they do is they oil once, at the beginning of the day.
Sort of.
We'll get to that. They oil once for the beginning of the day, and then they have 3 squads. So by the time they get to the 3rd squad, the track and for the right side of the lane anyway, it's absolutely fried up.
Which it was
100%. I was throwing my spare ball at a 10 pin, and I think it maybe hit the 3 pin. It hooked so much. So yeah, they get super fried. So that's why they stay so hard, is because it's at some point you're almost like it hooks too much. Now it's bouncing off, and then if you overthrow it to the right, then it's just gonna sail on you and be 3 off the right. And then same to the left. You miss to the left, it's going left. So definitely one of the harder tournaments almost anywhere other than like the what's the one we were talking about when we hit 23 and 24, the big tournament where it's like that. It's like 60 feet. I always forget the name of it, and you always remind me what the name is. Snowman.
Oh, we never bowled that.
I know that.
You said we bowled it.
No, I did not. I was saying we hit 23 and 24.
Oh, and
it was like Snowman, where they oil a mile down the lane.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into that. So Anthony, Joey D, Jake Bissonette, we all show up for the first squad on Saturday, which is the fresh squad. They just oil in the morning. And we're bowling. We're doing pretty good. I think I had a 200, 190. You had, I think
I was about 25 over. You were like -10. Jimmy was even. Joey was pretty close at the time. I don't remember who else was on our pair, but we had like 3 or 4 guys that were right in the thick of it going into game 3.
Yeah. So we're in game 2, and we're starting to get friends of ours giving reports of our next pair, which happens to be the last pair, 23 and 24. And they're like, nobody's hitting the head pin down there. And if they aim at the head pin, it goes right from the right side. And then same from the left. So we're like, nah, it can't be that bad. Like, we're looking down, we're like, it looks like it's going pretty straight, but
there's a little bit of hook.
It's hooking a little down there. And then we walk down there once it's our time to get down there. And literally, if you gave away the head pin an inch, the ball was gone. Absolutely gone.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. Wasn't really sure what happened there. I mean,
something went awry with the lane machine. No big deal. Stuff happens. But the interesting thing to me was that there was 2 groups that bowled the first 2 games, and we're just like, this seems right. They didn't say anything.
I don't know if they thought it was right or not, but I don't know. I did hear that somebody did let the people know in game 2, and nothing came about it.
I missed that.
Yeah, I did hear that. I don't know how true that is. But it was from the guy who said, I went and did it. It wasn't somebody else who said, oh, this guy went up. No, this guy said, yeah, I went up in frame 2 or game 2. They didn't do anything until, I did go down. I was a little stern. I wasn't mean, but I was a little bit stern because, we're all so close. And in this type of a tournament where you don't re-oil the rest of the day, nobody's going to bowl in that pair once anybody catches wind, right? 23 and 24, we're not bowling, we're withdrawing. So, that cross would have been completely empty in a sense.
Oh, for the next 2 blocks, because it would have stayed that way.
Yeah, right. So you probably would have lost about 70 or 80 entries off of it. So what they ended up doing, I mean, our balls were literally backing up.
100%.
We had a guy throw the ball 10 miles an hour and it never moved.
I was getting close, though. I got on the twig, and it actually went across the head pin, and I was like, I got some hook here.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to stay for a minute, but it wasn't worth it.
So we all get called in the tournament office. A good move, I thought, was to, after the squad's over, we're going to re-oil all 4 pairs. You guys are going to bowl after, because they do use all the pairs after. So they do have to be
close to what they're supposed to be.
Well, that and the burn, technically it would be burn. If we bowled again, it would be double burn by the time it was.
If they didn't oil.
Right.
Yeah.
So they re-oiled the cross.
The four pairs that were affected.
And we ended up bowling afterwards. I guess a lot of our cross made it.
Really?
There's like 4 guys off.
Well, your
we
pace picks up a little bit. You're not having to
Yeah.
wait for left and right of you.
Let's see, M, and we were squad M. So lowercase m was our squad because we weren't uppercase or M point.
MV2.
Yeah, so we bowled that one, and everybody waited kindly. We actually bowled fairly quick for
Haines. Well, like I said, you don't have anybody next to you. You can just get up and bowl, which was nice because that's a very slow-paced tournament, and you have to be able to keep your composure or keep your your head in it to be able to stay focused and stay tuned to what's happening on the lanes, because it is probably at least 20 minutes between shots. Maybe not 20. It's
like maybe 5.
It's not that short. No way it's that short.
Well, anyways, that tournament's all about patience. You have to have a lot of patience to get there, because you don't really need to whack a pair, and you don't have to get it right away. You can really kind of keep yourself close, because you can get the at-larges plus 20, or obviously if you're bowling well, you want to get that first round bye, which the top 2 players get a 2-round bye. Then the next 2 would get a 1-round bye, and then they guarantee X amount of spots. And then if you don't make that, you get thrown into the at-large pool. So there's a lot of ways to really make this event, make the finals. So basically all you got to do is really wait and be patient. You don't have to get anything right away. You just got to keep yourself close and make your spares.
Which is the reason why I didn't make it, because I shot 815. I was 12 pins out. So I was right there, and I don't remember which one it was, but I know I had a couple of spares, so it doesn't matter which one.
Yeah, definitely interesting, because they are so flat. So sometimes your ball does a little bit more than you expect, or it kind of backs up a little bit. Yeah, it's a interesting way to shoot at it, which is why I throw 25 miles an hour, because if it's going straight, it ain't going nowhere.
That's right. That is true. So finals. Let's see. Let's count it off. You, Matty Tuesdays, Connor, Taylor, Ray Ponte, Chris Smith,
Brian Leclerc, Nick Galusha,
Joe Mazurik, Eric Stengel. A lot of 518ers again, just like at the Masters. We had a big 518. Daryl Coonrad. Yep.
I can't think of anybody else who made it.
RJ Martinez.
RJ made it. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else, because they might have been. Oh, Brandon Boyer. Did he make it?
I want to say yes, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
But yeah, we had a lot of representation. It was a good finals event for our area. We did fairly well. Put a number on them pretty well. Oh, Susie Marine. She had a 2-round bye.
Yeah. And Mike Newman too.
And Mike Newman was in there too. So I mean, we had a lot of representation. It was good to see that we were well represented, and a lot of us were in the finals. Which is another waiting game, because if you have a 2-round bye, you got to wait. You got to do 2 practice rounds. And if you have a 1 round, you got to wait 1 round. And if you're not, you got to just be patient and make the other person make a mistake, wait for them to do it, so you can just stay clean and push on by.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of patience in this tournament. I think that's like one of the things that can make or break you for sure. And then keeping up with the moves for sure, because
left was hard this week. So I moved from,
as per usual, left was walled.
I moved from 2 left of the last dot to 3 left of the last dot, back to 2, back to 3. I mean, I was moving a little here and there, a little bit more to the right on my eyes, a little bit left around my eyes, I think I threw 1 ball this weekend.
Yeah, the red ball was your money
I did
ball.
throw something else for the right side spares. I threw as NU.
Oh, that's right. You did hook at it.
I hooked at a lot of the spares on the right side.
Yep. I do remember.
Because that ball was
control hook.
Yeah, it was a controlled hook, and it made it a little bit easier, gave me a little bit more wiggle room, made a lot of spares that way. Only thing I threw straight out this weekend were 7 pins and I think 10 pins.
Maybe 3 6-10s, or your
I had 3 6-10s.
2 4.
Yeah, my 2 4s. Yeah, my 2 4 7s, the 2 4s. Yeah. Besides that, yeah. But the only thing is I did throw straight out were like a 7 and a 10 this weekend.
And a full rack. You threw straight at a full rack for 2 frames.
I did.
That was on 23 and 24 on the first shot, or on the first.
I did in the match play as well.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about match play in a minute. But yeah, so bunch of 518ers made it through. I don't recall out of the first round or whatever who got out immediately.
No. Couldn't recall anybody.
I know myself, Jake Bissonette, Joey D. We were enjoying ourselves in the gallery, and watching what was going on, especially Sherry. Sherry was on a tear.
Congratulations to Sherry Houston for winning
the championship.
Bud Bowl.
$5,500 for second year bowling.
Good for her.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like, not just Bud Bowl, but.
Yeah, I know. Second year bowling. I know. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, thank you. It was congratulations to her. She bowled great.
I hope she's watching because you owe her. Congratulations.
I did congratulate her. I just did.
So that was a little bit of the controversy of Bud Bowl this year. Sherry, I think it's Hewson or Housen. She did get 52 pins, which hey, it's a handicap tournament,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to go in there expecting that it is possible that someone will not. I don't want to say use that handicap to their advantage, but it's there for the taking, and it is tough when they get a double or something, and then you're already 100 pins behind if you haven't already doubled.
Yeah, and then you're hoping for an open because that's basically what you need. Then you got to throw a 3-bagger off the open to then get your 30. It was hard to beat. Obviously, I didn't win.
And
that
the
match,
other thing,
so
of the matches I saw, I think Magno in the championship match was the only one to shoot 200 against her.
Yeah, it didn't really matter what you shot. I don't think it was. It seemed like she had everybody's number no matter what.
Oh, Jimmy, we forgot about Jimmy Muller.
Oh yeah, Jimmy made
Jimmy
it.
Muller made the finals too.
First time he made it. But yeah, she ended up beating him as well. But he shot 224.
Yeah, not
So,
a
which means-
very respectable, like more than respectable game out there.
190 out there. I'm expecting to win 50% of the matches I'm in, to be honest with you.
Right.
194, 192.
Right.
190 plus is a stellar game.
Mm-hmm.
With his 224, she had to shoot 180.
Right.
30 pins over average.
Well, she had to shoot. Well, that math is right. You're right. 224. She had to shoot 182.
Yeah.
And she shot 184. Right.
Is that what it was?
That's what you told me.
Oh yeah, Tom Earl did make it too. Yeah, Tom Earl had 299. So congratulations, Tom Earl, on the 299. Sorry, we're missing. There's so many of us.
Right.
To be honest with you.
Again, 518, just like the Masters, was very well represented in the finals.
And he had a 2-round bye, so I didn't see him bowl for a little bit because he had a 2-round bye.
I don't think I saw him throw a shot in match play.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He had a 2-round bye, and we were on the other end of the house, so he did make it as well. So another person that made it. I think we got it right now.
I hope so.
It's a lot of people.
It was almost 20, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, she ended up taking the cake. She took home the championship.
The big check, the Eagle.
Yeah, that was good for her. A lot of good playing, honestly. Chris Smith, I think, was I lost to her in the round of 12. Chris Smith lost to her in the round of 6. So there was 2 of our guys that went out a little bit late, but it was definitely it's a tough battle to get to that position.
It is a grind.
You've really got to bowl well to get there. So whatever happens, happens. You got to have that patience. That's what I was trying to tell myself in match play was I'm not going to rush. I'm not going to, get worried about the score because the pattern is so hard. 2 washouts is extremely possible, or just a regular miss spare is extremely possible.
Yep.
So there really wasn't any need to get flustered or rush. You basically just had to make your spares as long as you weren't giving a ton of handicap up, and you'd have a good chance of advancing. That was kind of my strategy. Was
thought process.
Yeah, throughout
match play.
I think it was the first 3 rounds I bowled. I went like 250, 220, 210 or something like that. And in those matches, I was really just trying to make my spare, leave something makeable. And when I catch a double, just take it and run. And if you won, you won. If you didn't, you probably bowled a fairly halfway decent game.
Yeah. So yeah, congratulations to Sherry. Congratulations to Derek Magno for making the finals. And like Joey said, she beat the 2024 USBC Open Championships all events champion. Just wild.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So the other thing about Bud Bowl that I want to talk about, like Joey D posted a picture that I think we shared of our trip out to Bud Bowl. There was 4 of us in the truck, but we literally completely filled the tailgate full of bowling balls. And I think for righties, you need a good amount of balls. You need something that's going to get you through the burn, the double burn. Fresh, you're always going to have something with surface on it. But it's just funny to think, like, do I really need the 18 bowling balls that I brought to Bud Bowl? Because you never know what you're going to get. But at the same time, it's kind of similar every year.
So what are you saying, Kyle?
I'm saying
you didn't need as many?
I didn't need to bring in 5 bags or whatever, 6 bags, whatever I had.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was in the same boat.
The stairs.
Yeah, the ramp, you mean?
Homemade ramp.
Unfortunately for me, I did bring in, I think I brought 4 bags and I brought 1 more ball with Jake Bissonnette. We shared a 2-ball tote. I just brought like my normal stuff and then I brought my urethane stuff. I didn't bring anything out of the ordinary or anything different. It just happened where, hey, urethane's in play. We got our scouting report. I'll bring my urethane. I'll bring 4 urethanes, or whatever I brought, and then I brought my regular reactive bags plus my spare ball. So it just so happens that 4 bags was kind of the run of the mill there this weekend for me. And then we brought them all in because, I mean, why not bring them all in? Because we had 2
You want to
squads.
go back out to the truck when it's 25 degrees outside.
I agree. So we had I had 4 bags in there on the first day and only bowled 1 squad. Luckily enough, I made the cut, got a buy, so I didn't have to go back to them the rest of the day. But I will tell you that the vending machine where all the balls are, man, it's a mess.
No, the game room.
Dude.
It is a pile of rocks.
My freaking bag was like upside down on the other side of the room when I went in, and I stood it up.
Yeah.
Because I had to stand up 3-ball tote.
Yep.
I stood it up. It was like
you got knocked over immediately.
No, it was in the corner, like thrown somewhere else. So I threw somebody else's. I mean, the guy who had
this might have been the person that threw it.
No, I just had a bunch of stuff on my stuff, so I just kind of moved it over to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you really need 18, Kyle. I mean, a lot of guys are going to say they do. I would say you're probably going to need 9, 2 for the double burn, 3 for the burn, and then 3 for the fresh. And then I'm sure that you can have some overlap there. So, and then 1 spare ball. You're welcome.
Thank you. I'll have to consider that next year. My Zen 25 worked really good on the double burn for like a hot second until I got down to, I think, 23 and 24. And it did not work good anymore.
Yeah, I watched you guys, and
you all right? Wake up. Sudden yawn.
When you guys got to started not bowling the greatest on Sunday morning because I came over a little bit later, I decided to. Yeah, it was probably mine, Ray. I ended up leaving because I didn't want to stress you guys out more because I felt like I was bad luck.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I was gone for a game.
Didn't even notice you were there.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't notice much of anything.
Yeah, I caught you in like half of game 1, then I saw you in game 2, and then things weren't going great, and then I was like, all right. And then
time to go.
So then I left, and then I came back. But yeah, I thought it was maybe me was the bad luck.
It's always me when it comes to bad luck or bad shooting. I don't blame anybody else but myself.
Oh, you can blame me. It's okay.
No, that's okay. All right, so yeah, Super Bud Bowl, always a fun experience.
Can't wait to go back.
Anthony is super excited to go back. I'm still excited to go back.
I do enjoy.
It's a good tournament.
I do enjoy the challenge,
and it's the challenge especially, and then the fun with everybody is also.
Yeah, our friends are there. I will say I give a lot of credit to the tournament director, thinking on his feet, and I didn't even. Obviously, I'm thinking about what he's gonna do because that's what I do a lot of times.
Right.
I'm in that position. Like, man, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna refund our brackets? Is he gonna refund our squad? And then he's like, no,
we're re-bowling.
We're gonna re-bowl it. And I was like, let's do it.
Yeah,
I was in for it.
As soon as you said that, I said, didn't think of it.
Yeah, didn't think it was a possibility. But that's all he could realistically do.
Because he needs the lanes to be exactly. They're not exactly the same.
Exactly the same on lineage.
Well, I'm saying, bowling, actual games on the lanes, yes. But yeah, he needs them to be as close to double or as close to burn
as he
can get them after the other pairs have bowled their 4 games. Right. So, the other thing I wanted to bring up is you're gonna have to remind me his name, the Canadian.
Lewis chose to bowl.
Yes, so he was plus 60 going into
game 3.
Third game, and
he went 194, I think, that game.
On the
third game.
Oh, the third game. So his last game is on 23 and 24.
He was like plus 55-ish going into the last game,
which is a great number.
Yeah, which is all he needed was 210 to catch the bye because I had 860.
But we're in the tournament office and he says we're gonna re-bowl and everybody's like, yeah, sounds good. And then
except for that pair,
he goes, excuse me, I'm plus 60. I want to bowl.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if you choose to bowl, you're taking your scores and you can't re-bowl the squad with everybody else. Yeah. And he's like,
yeah, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. He took
a chance.
He took a chance. And that ball was backing up. I mean, he threw the first shot and he barely got the 5 out when he hit the head pin.
He did throw a couple of strikes though. Maybe even a double.
He did. Yeah. But then when he missed, the ball just kept going.
You had to be freaking perfect on that pair.
That's why I threw when we were there for the 2 shots, I threw plastic from the right to the left because I knew my ball was going to back up and go left. And I knew if I could send the pins right while my ball's going left, I had a greater chance of making or leaving something makeable.
Right.
up until we didn't have to bowl it. But that was it was definitely an interesting thing. Yeah, we ended up re-bowling, and I will say I don't think I heard anyone complain about it when there was the issue. Everybody just kind of was like, all right, this is it. We're going to be a little bit late.
The only complaints were people coming in for the burn squad,
Yeah,
second squad, and they're although they did put a post out, but they were expecting, all right, I'm going to show up, I'm going to bowl at noon or whatever that time was, 2 o'clock. I forget what the time is. It's like, turns out, no, you guys aren't starting until 5.
Yeah.
And then the double burn's not starting until 9 or 10 or whatever it was.
Which I didn't think was too bad. I thought 9 or 10 is still respectable. We actually bowled fairly quickly. So, I mean, I give a lot of credit to the guys. Everybody was bowling. All of us were attentive to bowling. We understand that.
And we had a couple less people because of those guys that chose to bowl.
Yeah. So we were spread out a little bit too. But it wasn't like double burn had the same amount of players that we had. Obviously, they had lane courtesy. We didn't, but we did try to bowl as quickly as we could to make everything, obviously on time as we could.
Try to throw strikes.
I think we only bowled for about an hour and 45, 2 hours. I don't think it was any longer than that.
Really?
Yeah, we were quick because you got to think that squad probably got done right around 1:30. He re-oiled by the time we started. It's 2 o'clock. We probably finished we actually probably started to score at like 2:15. I would say 2:30. So by the time we got done, it was right around 4:40 when everybody was finished. So we bowled 4 games fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I thought it was about 2 hours.
Pretty quick enough for
especially
6 guys
pattern,
on a pair.
And on that pattern.
Yeah.
You could be throwing a lot of 2 shots.
Yes.
I did get somebody to thank me for
stepping up and making
something.
And it was funny too because as we all noticed, one of the guys, not the director, but one of maybe the family or employees there, he comes strolling down. He's like, "What are these guys talking about?" Then he stops, sees one shot, and immediately turns around and goes to the front desk. Yeah. And then it all ended at that point. Yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. But everybody was having fun. Nobody was like super pissed off. I mean, maybe we were pissed off if we lost $500 in brackets, but
no, I was okay. I was pretty cool. I was like, all right, listen, it is what it is. I mean, as long as we do something about it, because it is, you have 90 guys there in that squad, and you're basically throwing out what is it 6 on a pair, 8 on a pair.
For the regular full squad, it's 8 on a pair.
So 32 guys. Nobody really was. I mean, the people who bowled before us probably were a little upset because they didn't say anything. So the people that didn't say anything on the
first two games,
like especially if they had experienced bowling before,
right?
You should have stepped up and said something. If you did, and it didn't happen, I'm sorry. But if you didn't, and you were like, hey, what the heck? We could have probably maybe stopped
nipped it in the bud an hour sooner.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Like he said in there, listen, if you see something where it's glaringly wrong,
right,
just let me know so we can get things fixed up so we can try to stay on the schedule as best we can. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if I had that problem, my head probably be through a wall. I'd probably be out rubbing my face in the concrete. So kudos to him for just kind of relaxing.
Saving your anger, saving your face from being smashed.
No, I'm saying if I was the tournament director.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, my God.
My face would be on the carpet or on the concrete, just rubbing it up and down.
I mean, listen, I've seen you when just regular machine problems happen during the tournament.
Yeah, I'm high strung when it comes to those things. I like things to be done right and perfection.
Which I totally understand. You don't want to be embarrassed in front of your people.
But yeah, no, it is what it is. I mean, it happened, and good call. We all bowled, and I
get to bowl for free that squad. That was I guess the benefit.
It was good for me.
I got the instant cash. I just didn't make it to the finals.
I was very happy because I had too much moisturizer on my hand when we started, so I couldn't get the ball to hang on my hand. Everything was going right.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, oh, I finally locked it in, and then that happened. And I was like, well, shoot, that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
Because now I don't have to
dry it up a little bit.
Yeah, now my hand's dried up. I'm throwing a little bit better. I'm a little warmed up. But I mean, regardless, I think when we all got to game 3, we were all right where we were.
Yeah.
Like everybody was like, I was plus 30 instead of plus 26 or 5. And you were right around even. Jimmy Mueller was maybe plus 10 instead of even. PSB was even instead.
Yeah,
Joey
it wasn't
right
like we got a huge advantage.
We didn't really get an advantage. It's not like
we doubled our overplans.
It's not like where I was 20 over and then I went to 70 over. No, I literally went to I was 25, 24 over. I was at 30 by the time we got there.
Yeah. So it still hard no matter how many times you bowl on it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is I had a better idea kind of how to start. That's all, and that was it. I mean, but then you go to the next pair where you never threw a shot. You don't know how it's playing or whatever. So, I mean, regardless, I think I literally did the same exact thing as I did the first squad, except I think that was a little more even. I think it went 190, 239 the first set. And then when we went back and redid it, I think I went like 220, 210. So I didn't really change much. My scores just kind of got a little closer.
All right. So fun weekend at Super Bud Bowl, Lighthouse Lanes, Oswego, New York.
Shout out to House Shoes Johnson.
House Shoes!
He cracked up an Alani Nu right on the approach before match play. And then they put on Guns N' Roses, and he was freaking he was ripping. He was like getting that whole thing going. So then I saw him, and as I was warming up, so I like walked back and I was like, yeah. And he was like, man, and he was like singing Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh, well, during practice when they had the. Yeah.
He definitely tied one on before we bowled.
I don't remember his name.
House Shoes Johnson.
I know, but the reason his nickname is House Shoes is because apparently he showed up and forgot his bowling shoes.
Threw the house shoes on.
Why not? You got to do it.
I don't know if he's a local.
I'm not sure where he's from. We should get some of the experienced veterans that
know
go
where
out
House
there.
Shoes is from.
We should have done an interview. Is what we should have done.
I love when the Canadian anthem went off, and all you hear after the Canadian anthem is Oswego, and he pulls his drink up. So then I'm like, I can't have these Alani News. So I was like, and he was like, man, these things are like candy in a can, man. And I was like, here, take mine. He's like, what do I do with it? I was like, crack it open. So then he had double fisting while he was on the approach, getting ready to bowl. And I was
ridiculous.
And then he almost won.
How far did he make it? He won his first match.
Yeah, he almost won the first match. Yeah. He was a little crazy because he was in the room when we were talked about how the buys work.
Okay.
So he was like, he didn't get a buy.
Right.
Though. He just was there.
Oh, it was a meeting just for
for the people with buys.
The top players.
Yes, who got the buys, and he just kept yelling Oswego the whole time.
In the tournament office.
While we were, and the guy's like, "Hey, calm down." And, Oswego, because he's like, the prize fund is blah 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 blah, and the guy's like, Oswego. We're like, what the heck, dude? And then come to find out, he didn't have a buy or anything. Michael Johnson, his name was.
Thanks, Ray.
But yeah, he was hyped the whole time. Was in the wrong places at the wrong time, but he was still living life. And then he's like, "Where am I at?" And they're like, "You don't have a buy."
What land I draw? All right, World Series of Bowling. All qualifying is finally finished, and no surprise to anyone, EJ Tackett has made all of the at least initial rounds of finals. Not to the TV yet, but
round of 16, I think he's in each one.
Yeah, every single one. Again, to no one's surprise. But
yeah, I mean,
we've been talking about this all season, how he's at this time the greatest, and it just continues to be that way.
I mean, Belmo's in every one but the Chameleon. I think he lost to AJ Johnson, the Chameleon, so he made the cut, but he didn't make the round of 16.
Mm-hmm.
I don't exactly know how that worked because he did bowl AJ. Nope, he bowled AJ Johnson in the Chameleon, which was, by the way, the highest scoring.
Crazy high.
It's higher scoring than Cheetah was last year.
Yeah, and 240 something average.
Yeah.
To I think even make the finals.
Yeah, it was something stupid.
Yeah,
it was they said it was like 260 or 45 over, and Cheetah last year was like 240.
Wow.
So you talk about they took out Cheetah because they said it was a little too easy because everybody could play the gutter, the scores were too high.
Oops.
And they replaced it with Chameleon, where it's just a little bit longer, but everybody still whacked them.
Right.
Very interesting to see. I think the scoring pace was broken, right? The chat was something broken this weekend?
So he needed a strike, and I'm blanking on who it was. Needed a strike to beat the all-time scoring record, and I think he got a 10 pin. So I think he might have tied it.
Which is impressive because I think didn't that get broken this year by Michael Davidson in Delaware?
Oh, did it already get broken?
I thought,
high scoring record?
Unless it was just for the World Series of Bowling. I remember that the scoring pace was kind of broken or something this year with him because it was on that. Was it on Cheetah? It was the one where the lefty won. But regardless, it was definitely interesting to see. Not talking about the scores, but to see the posts from J.R. Raymond about what was going on.
What was the big story there?
Don't know.
Because all I saw was his post, and then no other. He said there's going to be a lot of people complaining, but then it was just him saying that.
I think he meant a lot of people are going to be complaining about what he says.
Oh, well, he says there's going to be a lot of fines this week because people are going to be complaining about something. But
no, to be honest with you, no idea. I really thought that he was just talking about in general. He had something to say about what's going on in the bowling world, and he had his own opinion on it. And I thought that's how I read it.
okay,
I read it as,
but nothing
hey,
has even come out yet,
no, he's
gonna
make a video on it.
Of course, he's just teasing his own videos just to get views. It's clickbait. Clickbait.
Maybe. I think it has something to do with following people and stuff like that, because obviously the field was more open here. So I guess I did hear a few guys on the YouTube when you watch, they said, well, I think it was Chris Prather. They're like, well, how many balls did you bring down to Shark? And he's like, I don't know, like 12 or 15 or something. And somebody's like, why do you need so many balls? Like, didn't you think? He goes, well, I walked my 2 bags down, started to get ready, and then I saw a guy crossing on my pair with a 160 grip pad rubbing his IQ 78. So I went and grabbed 2 more balls.
It makes sense.
So I don't really know. There's Joe Corrette says Rash made a post too, complaining about drawing Tommy Jones the same pair 3 times over the same 3 days. I mean, that's how it was at the Masters when we bowled. You bowled with the same people every day. There was nothing different. So I don't really understand how. I guess the World Series, I guess if it was 3 different times, like 3 different patterns, it makes a different. But
yeah, it sounds like maybe 3 different. Because if it's over 3 days, then it's going to be like this pattern. Yeah. Then it got him again the next pattern, got him again the next pattern. Yeah. But I mean, that's just like, well, I guess it's not luck of the draw, because you don't know how they're actually creating these skips.
Yeah.
Because they're not going in and drawing numbers out of a hat. The skips are just made for you. So that is an interesting. Yeah.
Deke says people are mad about the crosses and how you followed guys that played them wrong. Yeah, I don't think there is a wrong way to play the lanes when you're bowling in a singles event. You have to do what you have to do, but I guess that at the high level, they're used to one thing because they all play them the same. So when you add in more of the ham and eggers like myself, they get a little bit more tricky because you're not sure exactly how everybody's going to play them. Because I did see that Shark, the lefties were throwing urethane.
On almost 50 feet.
Who's the left? Who's the bald guy that's left-handed? It's not. Is it Grandpa?
He's not bald, is he? Oh, yeah. Well, he's
no, it was Matt Sanders. It was Matt Sanders.
Matt
Sanders. I literally watched him throw a black hammer on the outside part of the lane. He probably was standing at like 13, and I watched his ball rev up at 10 feet and hook, and he made it to the pocket.
And I have to assume though that the 50 feet of 48 feet of oil, kind of gives you a little bit of hold if you're playing with urethane. It revs up, stops, and then just sits in the oil. Maybe.
So I did watch the YouTube of the Brad and Kyle, and they were saying that's exactly what you would expect, right? A lot of guys were a little more direct because you were able to play them a little bit straighter. But the problem is that there wasn't any hold, and that if you got it to the right, it never hooked back
for the righties.
Yeah, so they were a little bit trickier in that aspect. They said it was much more attainable to throw a 5-bagger, but then it was much more possible to go washout split or washout 3-pin or washout. Something where the ball didn't really react right. So they were saying that even though it was long, it was more of a direct pattern, but a lot of guys opted not to play there because they know they could hit the head pin and make a spare.
Right.
Wow, playing straight was a little bit more scoreable, but there was more.
You leak it right a second, and
you get it left, it hooked, and you got it right, and never went anywhere. Or you got it a little too slow, it hooked through the face. You got a pinch quick, so there was a little bit more speed variability in there and stuff like that. So Deke says when you follow them all week is what he's complaining about. I guess, when you're following them all week, the crosses should be different. I guess, it should be random draw or random, randomly assigned. But I know they have 2 shifts too, right? They had 2 shifts for this?
For each pattern?
Yeah.
In a 90 lane center?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Whatever it is now,
because they said the second shift was coming in, and somebody said, "Oh, I'm bowling the second shift," and I can just ask how somebody else played them. Oh, what was the play today? Oh, we played them a little bit more direct, but when you played direct, there wasn't, you couldn't do this and that. So a lot of guys to that next squad start a little bit to the left. That was from the Brad and Kyle channel. But how about this, Kyle? I'm going to throw this out there.
Go.
Yes, there was an A and B squad, Joe said, so I am right. Chris Prather made a funny joke.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know how hard it is to grab your bowling ball when the only way to go to the room is walking down the middle of the lanes?
Oh, like grab and go?
Because he said our bowling balls are in the squad room.
Yeah, behind the lanes.
So you either got to walk all the way to lane 1
and then down,
or to lane 70.
Because you can't walk in the middle.
Because you can't walk in the middle.
Because guys are bowling.
Yeah. So he's like, you know how hard
It's
it
a
is.
15-minute walk.
He goes, you
round
know how
trip.
hard it is to get there and back.
Yeah.
Before my turn is up.
Because you can only have typically 6 balls out, 2 bags.
Yeah, they say that, but you can still, as long as you're moving them with you, it's fine. But yeah, they did say that Prather was like, at one point, I was like right on the pair next to it, right next to their walkway. And he's like, I almost just took the fine just to walk down and walk
there's
back.
a specific fine just for
I guess he
walking down the middle?
He kind of said it in that way where I almost just did it just because I didn't want to walk around. I'm right there. And then
it's a huge place. I didn't even know you could get back there from the ends.
From the
around into the concourse, you can go into
the high side.
Into the on the high side, there's the
low side's the same way. They said.
I'll call it because it's all got glass windows.
They said the low side's the same way.
Oh, okay.
Which
I've never been down.
I never noticed
down there, but I never noticed the door down there. Yeah,
but I don't remember that seeing that option. I only remember all the way to the right.
Yeah, which is still, unless you're on 80, it's a huge freaking walk.
Is it 80? I don't. It's
I forget what it is, but it's a ton of lanes.
They had 10 down below, so
it's something close to 80. I forget what the number is.
I can't remember, but yeah, it was definitely interesting. And then the more interesting part, I know we're not really talking about the scores yet, but the more interesting part was hearing guys say that lane surface is fresh.
Don't you think there would be a little bit of noise made that the lanes are new?
I don't really know, Kyle, because when we were there, they were hooking a lot.
Yeah.
So they said that the lanes were playing a little bit fresher. They can use some stronger pieces of equipment.
Maybe they surfaced them.
Does that really work?
I don't know. I don't know for sure, scientifically speaking.
I don't know.
All I've heard is guys anecdotally say, yeah, I could notice a difference. But does it mean like they're 5 boards tighter? I don't think so.
Right. So I don't know. They just said that they were tighter. They were tighter than some of the Bolero houses they bowl in. So
wow.
Which was shocking to me because last time we went out there, the fronts hooked a lot for the righties.
Mm-hmm.
I used urethane and was able to move right and get the ball to hook in the front no matter what. So they were a little bit hookier in the front part of the lane, but maybe they just did a better job at designing patterns to make them hold up a little bit better in the front, possibly.
Possibly. Are they using Kegel machines this week or are they using Brunswick?
I don't know.
I'm just curious, it's
probably Brunswick because that's who supplies them.
Yeah, but like you were saying before that they're doing a mix now. Some places they're doing Kegel.
I did hear they did a mix. I don't know. Brunswick. I'm not 100% sure, but because I'm not out there. But I'll let you know next week because I'm pretty sure they're going to put the Atlas out.
What's next week?
Or in a week and a half.
2 weeks when you go to the Masters, you mean?
Yeah, they'll probably have
well, it's definitely going to be Kegel because Kegel is USB-C.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. They are not USB-C, but they supply USB-C the lane machines.
So we'll see what happens with that. But I did see some. I heard the lane surface was a little fresher. Guys were saying that Chameleon was easy. They were really soft. And you couldn't watch your opponent throw the ball, Belmo said, because if they struck on a bad shot, you'd get a little too amped up about it, and then you would throw a bad shot. So he said, I try not to really think about it in this case because they are so soft that I'm able to miss. There's more miss room, which means that there's more bad strikes, which means that I can't get too worried about it. So that was on his video.
It is what it is. It is for everybody. You know what I mean?
He just said that's what I'm going into. My mental approaches today because I know the scores are going to be high, but I don't want to get caught up in, no, that was a bad shot. He got lucky. That was a bad shot. He got lucky.
Which you should. That should be your goal, anyways, to not worry about your opponent. Which we're all human. It's hard to do sometimes.
Yeah. So then, what else do we have out there? We've had Chameleon, high scoring. We've had the Shark.
Difficult, except for lefties.
Which was the lefties were throwing urethane, and a lot of the two-handers made the show, which is interesting to see.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't categorize the two-handers and the lefties in the same position because obviously two-handers probably like a lot of oil and a lot longer patterns, while the lefties don't typically, but it ended up being that way. So we will say we had, oh, wow. Did we not have Chameleon? Or was it Viper? Was it Viper that was the high scoring?
Well, how about while you look that up?
Yeah, I want to check because I thought maybe I missed one in here. So many.
The international
Chameleon
story.
Is there.
The international story of a lot of international players at the top of the standings, at least for a little while.
Yeah, I mean they did fantastic. I mean, if you're looking here right now, you've got Belmo is. Would you call him international?
No, not anymore. Like I know he's from Australia, I get it, but he's a full-timer on tour.
Jesper,
full-timer on tour.
Okay.
I'm talking about the new people that
Mitch
we haven't the new people that we haven't seen before.
Okay, so Wing Seong Darren Ong.
That's the guy.
Okay. He's averaging 230.
This is just on Chameleon.
No, this is the World Championship. He is currently in 7th place in the World Championship.
So this is the gathering of all the scores from all of the
Yes.
events.
Yeah, yes. Then you've got Rafiq Ismail, who is also actually really good.
Yeah.
He's from Malaysia. He's got a lot of titles over there. I have heard that name before. He's in 19th in the World Championship. You've got William Berggren from Nasio. I don't know. Maybe that's Sweden. I don't know where that is.
There's a lot of
then you've got Ahmad Muaz Ahmad
one.
Fishol, Malaysia. Tun Amirul Al Hakim, Malaysia.
A lot of Malaysian bowlers.
Yuma Haraguchi, Japan. And that's 42nd there. So that's the top 50 there.
But during the week too, they were at the top of the field for some of the individual tournaments.
Yeah, there was a lot of people.
A lot of people that we haven't seen before.
Yeah,
at least in the US.
Right. And then there's a guy from Iceland, Arnon Johnson. He was there. I mean, you've got people from Finland, Balsta, wherever that is, Sweden. I mean, you've got. I'm sorry, I don't know where some of these places are. It's just you're seeing all these different names, which. Now
I'm gonna detour for a second. On the way out to Bud Bowl, we had actually had a discussion in the truck, and we were talking about how all of these international players are absolutely killing it.
Timmy Tan,
and he's a full timer on tour too now, right? So, or is he PTQing?
No idea.
Anyway, so we were talking about, how can we get these guys over here full time instead of just for the week of the World Series of Bowling? And my response was the money.
Yeah,
there's just not enough money for these players to earn, win, whatever, on top of the fact of how expensive it would be to then be over here. So then as we were talking, I'm like, I got a good idea, I think anyway. The USBC.
You ever heard of Helsinki?
Yes.
I haven't. Sorry.
Jesus, how have you not heard of a Helsinki? Anyway.
That's a place.
I know.
I didn't.
So we were talking about how the USBC with the PWBA decided to remove the membership status, which the membership part, I'm kind of, I don't know how you would do no membership.
Membership is $300.
I know, but I'm just saying they removed the membership from the PWBA. And I think more importantly, they now allow anybody to sponsor the players regardless of registering with the PWBA.
Jeonsu?
Meaning
that place?
No. Meaning now there is no registration for women to have to have the companies that sponsor them register with the PWBA. So my thought was, that's a good idea in my opinion. Like you want these guys to come over here. They're not playing for that much money, to be honest. And why not allow the people that are paying for them to come over, or even people in the States for that matter too? Why not allow them to have their local center's name on there, or like Chris Barnes is sponsored by a car dealership, but he can't wear that because they're not registered with the PBA.
Yeah.
Why not get rid of that rule? I mean, how much money is that really making them? Whereas now you could get more players, more really good players that could be making money to get themselves out on tour, because now I can say, hey, I can put your name on my shirt.
I can wear you as my billboard,
right?
And I can keep.
And it's not going to cost you thousands of dollars to pay the PBA.
I don't know what the whole sponsorship number is, but I think we talked about it, and I think that is, one thing I will agree with you on. I think there's a lot of talent overseas, everywhere, for bowling. So, obviously, it's in this World Series of Bowling, they're very well represented.
Yeah. Well, look at like baseball, right? There's huge like Japanese followings, right, of the guys. I'm not a big baseball person, but I know that when you've got like the Japanese players playing, and basketball too, I think there's huge numbers of people over there watching and rooting for them.
You're talking about like rooting for them here, or
correct, in the MLB or NBA?
Yeah, they do have a good following, obviously, but you got to remember too, the other thing is they have a very well established professional league as well. So
in their own country,
a lot of times they don't really go to college. They get trained, they go training, and then they get picked up by the Bay Stars or whoever they are from Japan, and you play professional, and there's two different teams, but you play professional, and that's like it. So, you are a professional at that point in time. And then once you go to the States, you have to get released by those guys. The whole
it's a process.
Oh, it's a huge process. But yeah, they do get the following that way, but they've been pros for years at that point too. So it's definitely an interesting and a different way to look at it for baseball. But I mean, you look at it here and we're looking at the Shark, and your leader was Ahmad Muaz Mad Fishol from Malaysia. Hopefully I'm saying that close to right. Then you've got another guy from Malaysia in there. Then you got another guy from Singapore. Then you've got that's about it for the international in the top 24. But you got 3 guys there, and then you've got, I think it was Viper. I think one of the Swedish guys struck to make the top 16 or something. I can't remember who it was. I'm trying to think of his name. It started with an A, but there is a lot of good representation. So for me, it would be it'd be very interesting to see if they would. Oh, it is 5 to 10 grand. Yeah, I don't know who's going to pay that. That's silly.
Insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why you can't have as long as it's approved and it's not derogatory or anything like that. You should be able to have who you need on there, because that should help you take some of your expenses and financial stuff off you. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Is it may not help with the prize fund per se, but it's getting more players the ability to survive on tour.
Well, the other thing is how do they want them to survive is the real question. Because if you're going to cap it at 65 players, it's not worth it to have some of these guys come over here. Oh, and there's another guy. I missed another guy from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Big team tournament going on down there.
But, yeah. So I think it's interesting to see, you know, it would have to be, that's when you really have to expand the field. The field has to get bigger. You have to guarantee there's probably going to have to be 2 squads unless they change some of the rulings. But if you put the PBA on an international level, the following might get bigger. You might be able to get more international sponsors if things go correctly. And I think that you could bring a better product to the bowlers. I think it'd be a lot more interesting, because if you can grab guys, like you said, from Japan, a few guys from Malaysia, then you got a few guys from Sweden and all these people there. I mean, there's got to be a little bit of a fan base or not even a fan base, but bowler base over there.
Yeah, 100%.
There is a bowler base across the world. It might help.
They show up on my Instagram all of the time.
Yeah, it might.
All those international players. There's Sweden. There's
and they take it very
China.
seriously.
There's
you know
Japan.
I mean? Yeah. So it'd be nice to have a little bit of a different look. I mean, obviously, maybe you get, let's say realistically, you got to get about 90 players to 100 players, and you know, maybe you do your 65 from whatever you have here, and then you have your team trial or whatever. What is it, 60? And then you got your X amount of spots at your tour trials. And then maybe you have your overseas trials or something. I don't know how it would work.
I would say they would have to come to tour trials, but
why would they have to come to tour trials? If you want international, you have to let
I know,
them
but
have
you should be, if you're playing, it shouldn't be a separate division. It should be,
it's not a separate division, but I mean, what if they're not able to come here all the time? It's
but what if some guy from California doesn't go to tour trials because it's in New York? It's the same thing. Like it should be the same process for everybody. But regardless, getting more people, especially international players, they are going to increase the viewership overseas, which means more opportunity for sponsorship. I think. I don't know about international sponsors, but at least, hey, maybe Coca-Cola or Pepsi will say, "Oh, we've got a million viewers across the world. We're not just in the U.S. Maybe it's worthwhile now to put in some sponsorship to the PBA, and bolster that prize fund, and maybe gain the money back that they would quote unquote lose by allowing players to wear whatever they want."
Yeah, Joe says, do you then have to take the PBA overseas? And I was thinking that, Joe, and I was already thinking ahead of you, and I think that what you would do is you would have your PBA season, which would be over in the United States. I think that's where it would be. That's where it would remain, like the peak, the pinnacle. But I think that the big thing that could be overseas is you have a PBA Europe or maybe a PBA Asia or whatever it may be. And what you can do is you're able to then, if they ever did it right, like they should do over here, you'd be able to create a farm system or a foster system, whatever it is, and they would be able to come up through there. Yeah, Japan Cup, whatever, if they already have established, you'd be able to create your own kind of rankings, and then maybe, you know, over time it'd be like, well, PBA Europe has 10 slots. They're sending their top 10 in points, and Asia's sending their top 10, and whoever's Middle East sending their, whatever it is sending their top 10. So you get 30 guaranteed from the international side, plus your 60 or your 60 or whatever from the PBA, whatever from last year. Then you can go to tour trials, and then it's open for whoever wants to come in and try and do that. As long as they're a member from whatever country, they're able to buy in that way to do it as well, which would make it more of an international thing.
Which is just like the quote unquote feeder system that we would probably like to see in a regional setup, where
it would just be the same thing, just on a different scale.
But they're not currently doing that. The regional points don't mean anything for the tour except for making it to the RPI, which is where you can get a championship under your belt.
Like a fairly.
But it doesn't. Your points on the regional tour do not help you get a spot or even whatever a potential spot for the national tour.
Yeah, I would just think it'd be great because then I think there would be more international opportunities. 100%. You would hope so, at least.
I think there's plenty of people out there that are out there, meaning outside of the U.S., that want to be in it. Yeah. There's just got to be the incentive. They got to be able to make money to pay for it.
You got to be able to have people have to be able to see from their country. Joe has it right in the head. It's all about the money and sponsorship and the viewership. If we can increase the viewership or increase the sponsorship, that would be a really nice way to go about it. And, while we're talking about the World Series, Kyle, and how this is all happening, we should probably give some scores here. So what do we got? We've got the World Championship. We've got the top 16 here. This is off of whatever has just came up on my phone.
While you're looking at you, I just want to say, PBA, for the love of God, please listen to me for a second. The website that we've talked about for the last 5 years that we've been doing this. Yeah. It is impossible to follow along without having to click 100 times for each tournament. I know. That's what I'm saying, though. Huh. It is not easy to follow along the World Series Bowler. To follow along one tournament, very easy. You click the scores, But the way that the World Series is, like to find out, who did this tournament, who did that tournament, you got to scroll all the way down to the World Series of Bowling. There's not just like a big link. It's very, 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 very frustrating. Fix your website again, please.
Thank you. Here we go. We got the top 16 here. The cut right now is, plus 1,478. Sorry, I had to make sure that was correct.
That's 6 or 5? 5 or 6 tournaments. I forget now.
56 games. So we've got 226.39 Landon Carney, and then our leader is none other than EJ Tackett at plus 2,017. He's 100. He's 100 over. He's at least 100 over the next person. Belmo's up there as well. Belmo's had a really good World Series. It's good to see that he is back and doing well. We have Jesper Svensson in third place. He's at 1,800. The only player in 1,800. Belmo's the only player in 1,900. Tackett's the only player in 2,000. So the top three are Tim Foy Jr., one of our good buddies here. We'll call him a good buddy when I go talk to him at the regionals. He's a good guy. He's at 1,795. He's going to forget all about
you now. Who are you again?
Nah, he can't forget me. He's a nice guy. Tim's up there. Boog Kroll is up there. Mitch Hoope, Wing Song, Darren Ong is in 7th. BJ Moore, Chris Vi, Matt Ogle.
Phenomenal name, by the way.
Yeah, Matt Ogle, friend of the show. 10th place. Zach Wilkins, Bud Bowl competitor, is
champion.
In 11th.
Past champion.
In 11th, Kyle Troop, Thomas Larson, Andrew Anderson, Tom Doherty, the Rebel, and to round out the top 16, Landon Carnate. I don't see a lot of lefties in there.
Good.
Only one is Jesper. And right on the outside of the cut is Jacob Butterf. He's about 30 out of the cut.
This is all final, correct? Because final for the top 16 because they've completed all of their
round has been done.
Yes.
So now we'll go on to the single tournaments just quickly.
Individuals,
we'll take some look at here. The top 24 looks like they are. I don't think they had any match. They don't have anything else up on this here, so we're going after round 2.
If I'm not mistaken, which is entirely possible, I think the only one that's match play is not the actual World Series. It was the what was that? The Mike Albee? What was that tournament?
The one before
at Orange.
No, because Belmo bowled AJ Johnson in match play. It was on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm saying that's the one that they have listed on match play. Maybe it's because it's not on TV yet. But anyway, go ahead.
So Arnon Johnson, he's in 24th. Iceland. I don't know. I'm not going to go through all these. I think it'd be too many to get everybody in because we are at our limit. But we want to update everybody.
Oh, that's Swedish. Germany,
Sweden,
Malaysia.
Iceland, Malaysia, Germany, Finland, Sweden, Baista, wherever that is, Malaysia, Australia. Yeah, there's a lot of guys there. Tim Foy qualified number 1 on the Scorpion, 491 over, 240 average. Belmo was up there again. We'll do some notable highlights. EJ Tackett was in 8th. Friend of the show, Matt Ogle's in 7th. And let's see, to round out the bottom of it, Patrick Dombrowski, 19th.
He's got my favorite game.
Throws it real nice.
He just so relaxed, smooth.
Yeah.
Rolls
Not a
it
lot of
off
lefties
of his
again.
hand.
Not a lot of lefties again. But Arnar Johnson, let's see here. He had a strike, I believe, in the 10th to get to the top 24. He threw the last one. He's 247 over. Ethan Fior was 246 over. So Arnon Johnson was the cut. 220.5 was the average there at the bottom. And then we've got Verity Crawley makes the Viper Championship, friend of the show. 314 over, 226 average. Timmy Tan was the cut at 312 over from Malaysia. And let's see, we'll do some international people.
Sure.
We had Malaysia, Sweden, Canada counts, Australia, NASJO, Puerto Rico, Denmark, and Singapore. Your leader was Wing Song Darren Ong with a 497 over. That's a 241 average. Tackett is second. Bug Kroll third. Tom Doherty fourth. And to round out the top 5, Chris Prather. And friend of the show, Ogle, is in sixth. So Belmo also makes this cut. Chris Barnes, Bill O'Neill, friend of the show, Bill O'Neill. Jesper Venson again made another one. So that was 2 there for him. Notables right on the edge. Tim Foy Jr. misses the cut by 1 pin for this one.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's not fun.
It's always a little tough. It's one spare.
Then we
or
go to the
one
Shark.
bad shot. Because these guys don't miss spares. So
Yeah, that's true. Shark, where a lot of the lefties and two-handers apparently bowled fairly well. That's what people told me. But our leader was 472 over from Malaysia, Ahmad Muaz Mode Fishel.
I'm impressed with your ability to flesh out these names.
Well, I've been practicing all morning. So we did have a lot of international people again, quite a few. The cut was in 24th was 279 over. Wow, 2 guys from the international people were less than 10 pins off. Lucas Van Nen and Wing Song Darren Ong missed by about 10. Nate Stubler at 279 over was the cut. Let's see, we've got Puerto Rico was in there. Jean Perez. Singapore was in there. We're talking about the international. Francois Lavoie, I don't know. He's kind of more an American guy, I will say.
French fry.
Yeah, Belmo and Jesper Svensson. And our leader was from Malaysia. EJ Tackett, number 2, by about 30 pins. Packy Hannaran, front of the show, Matt Ogle. Justin Knowles, left-hander. Jacob Butterf, left-hander. Man, I should have bowled in this pattern. Cam Crow, left-hander. Only thing is I'm missing my top hand on the ball.
That's right.
So
your right hand does not stay on the ball.
Yep. So that is your Shark.
Although neither does Butters.
Yeah, but he's got some weird wrist.
He's got voodoo.
He's got some weird wrist.
Serious voodoo.
And then for the last one, the Scorpion, the cut was 247 over. Once again, Ethan Fior missed by a pin. I think that's 2 of them, right? That was his name twice.
I do recall you saying that.
I believe it was Scorpion. Yes, Scorpion. He missed by a pin.
Yikes.
Oh, wait. I had 2 Scorpions up. I already went over the Scorpion.
Oh,
Chameleon.
You're a bum.
Now. Sorry. There's so many tabs, Kyle. You should be.
I know. I'm not happy about it.
Then to round out the last one, the Chameleon, the high scoring, the brand new cheetah that they just put out. The leader.
What is the distance on this? Do you have any idea?
Chameleon, I think it was 40 feet. I thought 38 to 40.
Oh, that's like a regular length pattern then. Not
so
short at all.
At the top, we have a tie. 2 international people, kind of, sort of. 683 over Mitch Hoope. And then tied with him is Yuma Haraguchi from Shiga, Japan.
It's crazy. Amazing international
yes. And then they had another Malaysia player in 4th, Toon Amarul Al Hakim. He was 621 over. Jesper was also again up there again. Pontus Anderson from Sweden.
Yep.
585 over. Zach Wilkins from Canada. Shota Kawazo, a.k.a. Godzilla, I think they call him, from Japan. Belmo and Tackett, 14th and 15th, respectively. Thomas Larson from Denmark. Thomas Keiko from Finland. And to round out the top 24, the cut was 503 over, which was a 241.92 average at Andrew Anderson.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, and funny enough, we had an international guy at 499 over who just missed the cut, William Svensson. I wonder if he's got any relation to Jesper. It is a small country.
That could be like Smith out there.
That's what I was going to say. Friend of the show, Bill O'Neill, right on the edge in 28th at 486 over. A solid 240 average on the day.
and don't get a dime.
And not even getting looked at. Anybody who we didn't talk about, who you didn't see in the finals, you're a little surprised at? Canadians are counted as international as of today.
Billy O. Oh, that was one tournament. I think he made it in.
Yeah,
correct?
He was in. Yeah, I think it was Scorpion, if I remember properly. Not a lot of Anthony Simonson. Not a lot of him.
Right.
Kind of something that we're not used to seeing. I haven't seen him a lot yet. He must be saving it for the $100,000 tournament.
Probably, because that's where he comes alive. He's like the new Major Mika.
Yeah, he always does well there. AJ Johnson. Oh, Peter Fox, one of the guys
we'll call it Northeast
to.
Local.
Yep, he did make the cut on Chameleon. He averaged 244 on the day.
Another two-hander.
Yeah,
that's Chameleon, not Shark.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good bowling this week. There's been a ton of events. Kyle, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think this is how the tour should go the rest of the way. I think there should be multiple events per week in one stop, and we're not on there anymore.
Where'd we go?
Bad?
Oh, my phone's dead. They can still hear us.
Okay. Well, we're done anyways.
That's right.
So,
I forgot to actually plug it in when I plugged in.
Oh, it's right there.
The cord.
I will say I would prefer to see this type of a style for the PBA eventually down the road, where there's at least one or two events at each stop. I think it makes it a lot more fun, a lot more incentives for the players. New computer. Thank you.
What do you mean?
New computer, got your freaking camera up.
Yeah.
We had the other old one. We didn't have a computer on it.
That's right. We didn't have a camera on it.
It
was just a disgustingly terrible
I'd like to see the World Series of Bowling be a little bit more into the regular season, where you got maybe two events at each stop. That way you could 100% get some other people in there too. It doesn't have to always be televised.
I see what you're saying, because it's
a short season. I already saw we're halfway through the season. I'm like, you guys just started like 2 weeks ago.
Right. But that's the problem, is now when everything is mashed in together, there's no like continuity. So you have, I don't even remember the schedule, but you'll have Scorpion one day, then you have Shark the next day, then you have this the next day, but none of them are actually on television. If they actually televised it all week, I'd be 100% with you. But
it's on Bull TV.
If they actually televised it the whole week, I'd be 100% with you. The same way that they do golf all week long, or at least 3 days. I've said it a million times.
This is a whole week long, Kyle. This is a whole week long.
I understand.
I've said it a million times. They're doing a $20,000 for each event,
which is like no dollars.
Okay, sorry that they're out there. They're bowling 5 tournaments. If you have a good showing, you're able to make maybe 30,000. If you have a real like EJ, you probably got a chance for quite a bit. I know he's one guy, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of opportunity to cash while you're out there. It's not like you're one and done.
And the guys that actually cash will just like pay for their flight.
Kyle, we can't make you happy anymore.
No,
I mean,
no, because it should be. Every event should be its own event. It should be all big, and it should not be all mashed into 1 week where you can't follow the scores because the website's horrible. And then the show for Scorpion is 3 weeks from now when they bowled 3 weeks earlier. Mm-hmm. That is horrible. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I like the idea of having more events in a smaller amount of time because the season is so short anyways. Plus, with the amount of events they have, if we do get a few more people from the international area to maybe come bowl, if they kind of open it up a little bit differently, they're going to need more events. With more events comes more opportunities. And, maybe that's the way I'm looking at it, Kyle.
Well, I agree. I mean, there should be 30 or 40 events a season, not 15.
It's
every week. If you're not bowling, you're not working. Okay. That's their job, right?
I mean, some guys have pro shops.
Okay. If they made money bowling, then they wouldn't have to.
Okay, you're right, Kyle.
I know, because golfers don't have to worry about their pro shop at home because they're making millions of dollars on tour.
No, they're making millions of dollars on tour because it's international.
They should let it be international. They should take away the restrictions on the sponsorships.
Okay, Kyle.
Let whoever wants to pay for them, pay for them.
Sure.
All right. Well, it is time for us to go bowling now that Anthony has nothing to respond with.
I don't have anything to respond with because we're just not gonna agree on this situation, and I think we could.
The whole bowling season should not be done in 1 week. I'm sorry.
I didn't say it should be done in 1 week. I agree that it's a little bit short, but I think there should be more events. So I said maybe we can have a conversation about this next week, Kyle, before I go to Detroit, We can have a conversation about the PBA schedule and how we would fix it. We have a week to figure out how we would fix it, and I will do at least 10 minutes of work on mine.
All right, well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for letting us know that the camera was down. Actually, that was Anthony, but we got it back up, and it is not a good look. Ouch. This is a bad angle. You know how they always say, like, the girls are always like, angle high for your pictures? That's what they say. I can see why now.
I'm just here. I still look good.
Is that what that is? That's something. You look like Doc Brown from Back to the Future, dude.
That was
1.21 gigawatts.
That was my goal for this weekend when we were match play. Remember, I was like, I'm just trying to make it look like I was like on a bender last night, so everybody feels bad for me. So they just let me win.
Again, at Bud Bowl is entirely possible.
Oh, for everybody, yeah. I mean, I was fine. I was just trying to make it look worse, so people were like, man, he needs some money to go for his next fix, man. Let him win this one.
All right, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts from the channel. Reviews are popping up soon for the IQ green ball.
And hopefully the hyperdrive. I'm going to have to get to that. Matt didn't get that one because he's a loser.
So check out the YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, X. If you can't watch live, you can always download and listen via your favorite podcast service like Apple iTunes or Spotify or anything that you choose to listen from because it's on every channel. That being said, thanks you guys for tuning in. Thanks for chatting with us. You guys are always awesome in the chat. Thank you to Jack Scaccia, proprietor of Town and Country Lanes, for letting us in here. Anthony, good show tonight. Austin, we can't wait to have you back because it's never going right when you're not here. So we'll see you at bowling tonight. Thank you to my family, Stephanie, Zach, and Ethan. We will see you guys next week. This is Down Lane Podcast.